do my poses look stiff? Well, I'm going to show you exactly how to draw dynamic poses, beginner friendly, step by step, and by the end, you'll never look at stick figures the same ever again. Whether you work on a tablet, Cintiq, or pencil and paper, this is a drawing tutorial for anyone learning how to draw, or who wants to learn how to draw anime stylized characters. In 6 simple steps, I'll show you exactly how to draw dynamic poses that look alive. My name is Kiana Peppers. I am an unnecessarily detailed fan artist, currently hyperfixated on deltarune, and a note share where everything I know, you know. Welcome to episode 2 of Heart in the Art, where I take you through the entire process of my latest painting, The Cage, live while I'm making it. Let's get into it. So before we touch any anatomy, let's fix the #1 problem most beginners don't realize. Stop drawing from the wrist. The wrist gives you a tiny 2-inch range. Your shoulder gives you the entire page. When pros like lead Disney artist Glenn Keane or trigger animators draw, they use the whole arm. More joints equals more range and more confidence. So stop choking your pen, extend your elbow, and draw big motions first. Here's a quick warm-up. Draw large circles from your shoulder and long C curves and S curves. No tiny scratches. Think long, confident strokes. Step number 2, line of action. Now for the soul of the pose. If you want poses to feel dynamic, don't start with anatomy. Start with one line, your gesture. Like we just practiced, gesture lines are usually C curves, calm and flowing, and S curves, dynamic, twisty, energetic. They act as the midline of your pose. Even within the body. Avoid perfect symmetry or you'll end up with snowmen. We're all asymmetrical creatures, so look for that natural zigzag that leads your eye through the action. Here's where you can exaggerate. See if you can push your curves about 5 degrees more than feels natural. Your entire gesture should follow this one line. If that feels stiff, everything else will too. Next step, draw the silhouette. Silhouette is stronger than contour. This is where Pixar character designers, especially on The Incredibles, shine. They make sure characters read clearly when they're filled in black. Why? Because if the silhouette is readable, the pose is strong. If you have to zoom in to see what's happening, it won't stand out. So block in your pose as a solid shape. Big action, big clear silhouette. Overlapping limbs, make sure they're readable. And pro tip, squint at your drawing. If you can still understand the pose, you win. Step 4, add overlap and perspective. Now even stiff drawings can finally feel 3D. A, overlap. When one body part overlaps another, your brain reads depth. For example, an arm crossing in front of a torso, a leg foreshortened towards the camera, or the forearm hiding part of the bicep. Now I know we get a little scared when we hear the word foreshortening, but it's really not as scary as you think. And if you can master it, it'll add so much more to your work. Here's a technique I like to use. Try the coil method. Imagine limbs as springs or coils. Wrap rubber bands around the form. Those cross contours help you and the viewer understand depth. And even in character art, give something to each layer. Foreground, a hand in the front. Middle ground, a torso in the middle. And the background, legs behind. Boom, depth. Lastly, characters shouldn't float. So if your pose still doesn't feel right, ground them with contact. Have them touch the ground. Lean on something. Squish clothing folds where they connect. Multiple characters? Let them lean on each other. Interaction equals believability. Harder, but more rewarding. Honestly, this is something I'm still working on myself. I used to draw floating poses and would just hope that they worked in the final comp, but a lot of those pictures ended up feeling disjointed. So I'll be practicing this with you guys too. Step number 5, the bean! Anato bean and the box method. Now let's give your pose structure. Animators often start with the bean. It's literally a torso as 2 squishy shapes, the rib cage and the pelvis. This is where you can really exaggerate those C curves and S curves to find the tilt, twist, squash and stretch, and the spinal curves in the body. Combine the bean with the box method and you instantly understand which direction the torso faces, where the weight is shifting, and how the figure turns in space. If you want to learn how to draw anime poses, this is essential to level up your skills. I'd also recommend checking out Sakugaboru. It's basically a library of the hottest keyframes from trending anime that I wish existed when I was learning this stuff. Absolute gold for studying dynamic poses. Lastly, step number 6. Shapes don't just help with character design, they can also give personality to your pose. Squares, masculine, rigid, grounded. Triangles, aggressive, sharp, dramatic. Circles, soft, gentle, flowing. Your pose should tell you who the character is before you add one line of detail. Studio Trigger uses triangles for energy. Raul Moreno Coslado and Loish use rounded curves to show fluidity and weight. And Pixar, specifically in Inside Out, used both circles and squares for personality contrast. Ask yourself, is my character all angles, all curves, a mix? What energy am I trying to show? That answer guides your entire gesture. Also, sometimes it's not enough to just look at a reference or contort yourself into the pose. So it's helpful to have a little mannequin or a figure to experiment with. I'll leave some of my favorites down in the description if you want to check them out. Alright, now let's build a full pose together using everything we've covered. Start with a big C-curve for line of action. Rough in a strong, clear silhouette. Drop in the bean for some torso twist. Use the coil method for foreshortened limbs. Maybe add some perspective on an arm and a leg. And push the shape design. More triangles, more curves, whatever fits the character. As the pose forms, notice I'm keeping it simple. We're not worrying about detailed anatomy yet. This is movement first. If the movement is weak, no amount of detail will fix it. And done! 6 days later. If you want to see this picture fully finished, hit like on the respective video. 100 likes to unlock. Now at the end of the day, no amount of tips is going to beat good old practice. I'm 10 years in and I still feel like a beginner sometimes. But consistency builds confidence, let me tell you. If you want a deeper dive into anatomy, dynamic posing, or just an accountability buddy, the Crystal Library is designed exactly for that. Every Sunday on my sister channel, I'm streaming my anatomy journey. And after having finally finished Proko's anatomy course 5-something years later, I'm revisiting the whole body, now as your study buddy. And to make learning this junk even easier, I'm offering 3D models and uploading my personal course notes that update live every weekend, so you don't have to dig through multiple layers of books and tutorials. Now real quick, let's go back to the cage. Last time we talked all about composition. So if you're looking at this chaos and you're thinking, what the? Go check out episode 1 to see how we got here. For now, let's fill those silhouettes in. Nice. If you want to see the sketch process, I just started a Draw With Me series with break timers included. So even if I'm unable to stream, now you can watch the footage uncut leading up to the finished speed paint. Yay! Hit like if this helped, drop a comment, and subscribe for more Heart in the Art episodes. Next time, line art. For realsies this time. Love y'all.